Hello, my darling friends. My first video, blonde, platinum blonde. And today, I want to tell you a cute story about how I met Alec Baldwin here in Milan. So I've been living in Milan since 1985. Every 2 or 3 months, I would come here to work and I go back to my home in New York. But in 1988, I brought my mom here because I decided, I want to live here. So let's feel it out, see if it can work for me, if I can actually live here. So one day my girlfriend calls me. Let's call her Mary. Here's my little cat who's in all my little videos. Say hello. Let's call her Mary. It's not a real name. She calls me. I was staying in a residence because I hadn't found an apartment yet. And she's like, Crystal, I met this actor in the park. I'm not sure, what kind of actor he is. But I told him about you because, I can't speak English. I told him I had an American friend. He's American. He invited us out to dinner tonight. I'm like, okay, great. Okay, wonderful. So my friend Mary from Ecuador, beautiful Latino, gorgeous, curly, long blonde hair, was just walking through the park, minding her own business, when she bumped into Alec Baldwin and his friend. So what were they doing in Milan? Well, Alec Baldwin was in Milan to receive an award from this program called Telegatto. So tele means television. Gatto means cat. Telegatto was a really famous award, and I don't know how they did it, but like so many famous people would come to Milan to receive this award. I mean, I'm talking about people from Arnold Schwarzenegger to Sylvester Stallone, even Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson came to Milan to receive the Telegatto. I was always like, how do they do it? Like, what did they do to get these famous stars to come to Italy? Well, I found out what they did. Alec Baldwin later told me that they give you a 10-day free stay in a 5-star hotel, and they pay, of course, your airfare and any expenses that you would have in these 10 days that you're here in Milan. So he came over here with a male friend, and we even laughed about it because he said they probably think I'm gay because, I didn't bring a woman, I brought a male friend. Anyway, so my girlfriend Mary calls me telling me she met this famous actor. No, she didn't say famous because he wasn't that famous. This is 1988. So she didn't actually know who he was. She just know he was an actor, and he came for the Telegatto Award. So it's 8 o'clock, my darling friends. They call me. They tell me to come downstairs. They're here. I walk out of the door, and I see Alec Baldwin. He's all smile. I'm like, oh my God, Alec Baldwin, I love you from Nuts Landing. And he's like, oh, finally someone recognizes me, because he said he'd been walking around Milan and not too many people, knew who he was. So he was actually flattered that I knew him. Well, I loved him from a program that was called Nuts Landing. Okay, you have to be over 50, which I am, to know this program, at least 40, from the 80s, the early 80s. And he played a preacher. And I remember there was a scene, he was on the roof and he was crying and he fell off the roof and he died, and I cried for a week. Anyway, so we all went out to dinner and we had a nice time. Then the next day we had lunch together. Me, him, my friend Mary, and his friend. And then they went off to Venice, him and his friend. And when he came back, a couple of days later, he actually called me, see how I was doing and let me know how it went. And the line got disconnected. Now, this is something I will take to my grave, what Alec Baldwin did and said. So while we were talking, the phone got disconnected. And, 5 minutes later, the hotel rings, tells me I have a call. I'm like, oh, hello. He's like, did you hang up on me? I'm like, no, of course not. Oh, okay. So first of all, he thought I hung up on him. Like, who would hang up on gorgeous Alec Baldwin? But even more interesting, he actually called me back. I mean, I talked about that for years. Alec Baldwin called thought I hung up on him, actually called me back. Anyway, he just wanted to say goodbye. You know, he was leaving Milan and just to say goodbye. But it was so wonderful meeting him. I mean, he told me so many interesting, funny stories. Like he was making $100 a week before he got the job on Nuts Landing. And from $100 a week to $10,000 a week. And, you know, he said he went crazy, you know, like any young actor. And he was just so interesting. Oh, yes, this is a very important thing that he told me. He's like, oh, I understand why you're living in Italy. You know, you like European men. I hear they're a little better than American men. He goes, yeah, you know, I like foreign women also. He goes, but there is one American woman that I do like. And who did he say? He said he loved Kim Basinger. Now, this is a couple of years before he made the movie with Kim Basinger. I think it was called Kiss Me Once or something. And then, of course, they later got married. But this is 1988, a couple of years before he made the movie and even met her. So I always remember that, you know, that he said he liked Kim Basinger even before he met her. So that's my meeting with Alec Baldwin. We strolled around Milan. We showed him the shopping areas. It was really a surreal, my little cat, a little surreal time in 1988. So my darling ladies, this is a lesson. Always look your best when you leave the door, because you never know who you may meet. I mean, my girlfriend met Alec Baldwin in the park. Never know who you're going to meet. Always look your best. Ciao for now. I hope you enjoyed this little story. Let me know if you met anyone famous or celebrity. Leave it below in the comments. Subscribe and talk to you soon.